Hi, I'm Jackie and welcome to my channel, Hearth and Apron. So today we are going to be heading outside for an after dark Halloween decorate with me. Now we're going to be setting up a ghoulish graveyard in my garden as well as a witch's lair front porch. And I am just so excited to share this with you, not only because I love to decorate and share that joy and fun with you, but also because I made a lot of these pieces as DIYs myself, and I get to show you step-by-step instructions on how to make these little treasures and bring them into your own home. And we're gonna do that after we're done decorating. I decided to kind of switch it up so that if you wanted to see the decorating only, we could take care of that first. And then if you're interested in the DIYs, that will be in the second half. Let me know what you guys think about that little change up down below. I'm really interested in your opinion and how you feel and what you would like. So, grab your broomsticks or an old tombstone because it's off to the garden. Let's roam. Okay, so we're starting out the fun on the haunted entryway, which is basically the little graveyard that is going to bring the trick-or-treaters up to my porch. And I am just going to be putting in some of the graves that I made last year as well as ones that I made this year, and they are going to be held up with a bamboo stick and string. Now, some of the ones that I did last year have a piece of PVC on the back, which allows that piece of bamboo to just slide right in, and honestly, they hold way better. But I ran out of time, so I didn't have time to do that this year. But I think that this turned out super cute. You're gonna see I set up a little bit of a gravedigger section over to the side with a piece of burlap, which, if you guys didn't know, makes it look like an open grave so easy. It's just a simple touch that goes a really long way. And I'm gonna bring over my wheelbarrow and a shovel and a little lantern and things of that nature. And I think that this was just really cute. And I'm also gonna show you a close-up of my trees while they still have all their beautiful leaves, because we're getting ready to have a cold snap, and I'm so sad that I'm going to lose all of this lovely color. But they do have a kind of Tim Burton creepy vibe without the leaves, so they'll work either way. Now, if you are curious why we are decorating at night, that is because we had up to 50-mile-an-hour winds today, and they're going to be coming back here in a little bit, so I had to work with the small window that was available to me. Now, I'm going to switch on all of the lights. I do that off camera because it is just easier for me to move everything around. Let me know what you guys think of this haunted entryway. After we're done here, we are going to be making our way to the porch where we are going to be building our witch's lair, starting out by putting up some very spooky crow cages. So aren't these crow cages so cool? I made them from dollar store laundry baskets, and they are one of the DIYs that I'm going to be showing you later on in the video. So if you like them, make sure to stay tuned so that I can show you how I make them. And up next, we are going to be setting up my ever-burning embers and my magic cauldron, both of which are also DIYs. So seriously, you're going to want to stay tuned for all that fun. Have a couple more touches that we are going to put on the other side, but really quick, we are going to put around this black garland with lights around my door and a nice little wreath with a dead fairy. And then we're going to bring in one of the graves that I'm going to show you step by step how to make later, that says "Welcome, Foolish Mortals" on the bottom. And then we're going to kind of just throw in some decorations with some different mums and pumpkins. And I'm also going to be bringing in a witch's broom that I will also be showing you how to make for $4, guys. That's it. And I really feel like this porch turned out absolutely perfect this year. It kind of was simple in some ways, but so ornate in others. Let me know what you guys think of the porch. I will be adding to this Witcher's layer in the future, so if there's something that you think that I need to add next year, let me know that too.
I dreamt we had more than 20. I have seen this before, and I have lived more than plenty. Now lay me in the ocean. Why lullabies? I've used my time. Now lend me to the ocean. Sing my songs when I'm gone.
We are off to finish my spooky graveyard, which is the last section that we will be decorating tonight. And I'm just going to kind of run around for a little bit and trying to decide where I want to set all of my graves. I kind of have to set them down and look around to kind of get the true idea. Now, these are going to be secured with those bamboo sticks that we've used just like we did on the other side. And you can see that my husband already put up the Sanderson sister graves as well as the pallet for my little hell gate so that I didn't have to get any splinters. So huge thank you to him for that. I think this turned out perfect. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any suggestions, don't forget to let me know.
Lullabies, I've used my time. Now lend me to the ocean. Sing my songs when I'm gone.
A graveyard tip for you. If you are going to be working with a fog machine, make sure that you build some kind of an ice chest with a dryer vent hose in between it that you can fill up with ice to direct that fog through. Because if you didn't know, fog comes out of a fog machine really hot, and hot air, as we all know, dissipates. So if you use that ice chest, it helps to cool down that air so that it gives that low, like rolling fog that you see in movies, and that creates just that perfect special effect.
Religion is something to try when you're falling apart. Lie to yourself at times, now you're falling apart. Soon giving in is time, 'cause we're falling apart. Love didn't find your heart.
Alright, my friends, hopefully this has brought you tons of decorating ideas to use in your own garden. Let me know what you think down below, and it's time for me to show you how to make all of those DIYs. DIY that we're going to work on is that ever burning embers and the little fire kind of stuff above it. We're going to start out with a piece of foam board, and I'm just going to be taping a piece of like LED lights here, they're orange lights, all over, and I tried to kind of spread them as far about as I could. After that, I'm going to follow up with some filling gap foam spray stuff. I don't really know what it's called, guys. I picked it up from Lowe's, and I used about 2.5 cans to do this project. And you basically just cover the lights as much as possible with this foam spray. Now, you don't want to cover them entirely, obviously, because you want that light to still shine through, but I thought this was the coolest like DIY. So once that's dry, we are going to be adding a spray paint layer for our base coat, and I'm going to be layering the colors of black, gray, and red. And after this, I am going to be coming back through, and I will be adding accent paint so that this looks a little bit more like a realistic fire, but I feel like adding this base coat just really saves me a ton of time. After this, we're going to go in and cut off all the edges of this tag board where the foam did not touch, because we don't need anything extra to just kind of take away from the realism. And then we're going to follow up by going over all that white foam with some black paint, again, so that it just does not distract away from what we're building here. And then it is time to add those gray touch-ups, and I'm going to be doing everything with a dry brush. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what dry brushing means, I do not stick that brush all the way into the paint. I just barely dab it on the end of my brush while the brush is dry, and then I dab it onto a piece of paper so that I'm putting the least amount as possible onto my art, and it just kind of gives me a lot more like ability to just kind of manipulate the paint.
Overflow. I don't really know what's on, 'cause I'm a restless soul. Oh, here we go. It's overflow. I don't know where to go. Yeah, my homeless soul. Oh, here we go. It's overflow. I don't really know what's on, 'cause I'm a restless soul. It's overflow. I don't know
So now that we have finished up that fire, we are going to paint these little bones and skull as well as a couple sticks with the same method so that we can add them on top of the coals to make it look like it is even more of a burning fire, and maybe a fire that we evidently sacrificed somebody in, right?
And when you're dreaming, you will be seeing a little demon dancing around. Baby, there is only one way, and that's the slow decay. Get a little earthy with me, I'll pull you down like green. So tired, I can tell from your shape. Feeling sleepy, yeah, you can beat the slow decay. Baby, there is only one way, and that's the slow decay. Get a little earthy with me, I'll pull you down like rain. So tired, I can tell from your shape. Feeling sleepy, yeah, you can beat the slow decay. Baby, 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 get a, I'll pull you down like rain. So baby, 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 get a, I'll pull you down like rain. So
What's the point of building an ever-burning fire if you don't have something bubbling up above? So we're about to make a witch's cauldron. Now, I picked this cauldron up from Walmart a couple years ago. I think I paid $6 or $7 for it, and we're just going to give it a nice spray paint so that it gives it a more realistic look, and we're going to be layering the colors of gold, bronze, and black. Now, once this is all dry, I am going to be adding an atomizer mister that I picked up from Amazon, and I'm going to start by screwing in a hole onto the bottom of my cauldron here. And I did have to kind of gore it out a little bit because I did not have quite the big enough drill bit, but that's okay. After that, we're going to come in and take a plastic cup, and I'm going to glue it on the bottom and kind of just attach it down to that bottom so that it lifts the mister up into the pot, as you can see. And that is because if you have that mister too low, it's not going to create quite the same effect. After that, it is time to fill this puppy up with water, and we're done. It was so simple. I did have to screw in a nice like little rope to hold it up as well, but somehow I lost that footage, but you get the idea.
seen it run around, show you what I feel inside all the time. Hey, what if I just lose my mind, scream until the air runs out? I don't really care 'cause
Now that our cauldron is ready to go, it's time to start on our witch's broom. Now, the total cost for this project was $4 for me, and I'm really excited about that because it just really, I felt like, looked exactly like I was hoping, and I'll probably be making a couple more of these for a little witch parking zone in the future. Now, what you do is you go ahead and you take off all of the wire or the string that is holding your broom together, and there's actually a lot harder than it looks, but once you get it all apart, you pull apart the inner string as well, and then it is time to just fluff this corn broom out. Now, after that, I had my husband remove the ring that is on top so that I could glue it. I used some E6000, I think is what it is, glue, and I just attached it to a giant branch from a tree that I had at my house. And you guys, it was perfect. It was so perfect. So that it kept with that rustic, old school look, I went over all of the base with some twine, and I don't know, let me know. For $4, I feel like this was a success. Let me know what you think.
I don't really care 'cause I lose my mind. Oh, oh, oh. Lose my mind. 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 Hold back all the things I feel. If I hold back,
talk about how to make a DIY crow cage. Now this is one that I made many years ago, and we are going to kind of fix this one up because it's been ravaged by time, but I'm also going to show you step by step how to make one of these from scratch. So make sure to stay tuned. We are starting out with $2 store little laundry baskets here. You remove that top ring. We used some shears that are for the garden. It was actually a little bit hard to do, so I had my husband do it. And then I followed it with those same colors that I used for the cauldron, that bronze, gold, and black, to just kind of give it that old metal look. Make sure to paint the inside because you do see it from afar. And then it is time to just put these together. I used floral wire, and I just went ahead and twined it together multiple times. If you only do 2 or 3 things to hold this together, it will bow and create a weird look. So you're going to want to like tie this together about every 3 inches. And it created an amazing crow's cage that withheld 50-mile-an-hour winds. I kid you not.
There is nothing to be broken in this moment. Don't let me think back, give me what I need. Just wanna forget, don't need time to breathe. Two hearts bumping blood, beating up for fun. Caress my bruises, don't wanna go deep. Don't let me think back, give me what I need. Just wanna forget, don't need time to breathe. Two hearts bumping blood, beating up for fun.
Okay, it is finally time for me to show you how to make my DIY tombstones. This is going to be the last DIY I show you tonight, and I'm so glad that you stuck around to see how I made these. Thanks for hanging out with me. Now I am going to be using cuts for the support on this bottom tombstone box, but basically in this tomb I'm just creating a whole bunch of different shapes of boxes in different sizes and widths, and then I'm going to put them all together to create my tomb shape. Now, one of the most important things that I can tell you is to make sure to add support in the middle of these. You do not want to just create a box that is empty in the middle. It will not be as stable or supported, and it will most likely bow. Now, once all of my little layers here are complete, we are going to just kind of glue them together so that I have my initial shape. And then I bring in this nautical rope that I picked up at Dollar Tree, and I just add that so that I can make some extra embellishment with my paper mache here today. Now that the tomb is all put together, we are heading to the living room to add our paper mache. Now, instead of using the typical paper, water, and flour mixture that you are going to use for most paper mache, we want this to be outdoor friendly. So we are going to be adding in exterior wood glue instead. And you're going to want to make sure to have gloves when you do this project because it is immensely sticky and it dries incredibly fast. So you really just want to make sure that you have nothing else planned, basically. You're here to make this tombstone and do it until it is finished. And you go over every single layer. You kind of like overlap the ends on each piece so that you don't have any gaps for water to come through, just like you would in a normal paper mache project. And once this is done, we are also going to make sure and add some extra strength and like another layer to the bottom of this because I don't want to have any water coming in through the bottom of the grave either. And then I'm going to follow up by adding an additional wood glue layer just all by itself to the places that I feel might be a little bit weak, just to kind of add an extra seal. Now, I got this idea from a gentleman who made a red dragon to put in his yard in Seattle. You guys, it is fantastic. Like, oh my goodness. It is now on my bucket list to see this guy's dragon. But he is where I got the idea to use this exterior wood glue. I will make sure to link his blog with the red dragon down below so that you can check out his magnificent work. I hope that my project lasts even half the amount of time that he has, especially because it is just not near as wet here in Arizona as it is in Seattle. So it gives me a lot of hope about this project. Yeah, let me know, have you guys ever done paper mache with wood glue instead of the paper mache mix that's typical?
I'm swimming down
here, I'm just adding that second coat that I told you about to the bottom to give some stability, and then I'm just using a chip brush, paintbrush, because you're not going to be able to use this again. You just want to use a really cheap brush. And I'm just going to paint the inside of this little area on my tomb, as well as any cracks and crevices that I feel like might be vulnerable to moisture. And then I'm going to add this little Dollar Tree wood place, like house thing that I picked up in the middle, because why not? It's already got the blue. And after it is all dry, I went ahead and spray painted that accent black so that it added definition with the like differing colors, and also it kind of makes it so that it's easier for me to paint when it has that base coat down. Then I follow up with two different colors of gray. One is actually a dark gray green and one is a light gray. And I just kind of use the two colors to kind of blend in together and make my gray stone tomb color. Now, I did accidentally forget to add the words before I painted. I normally would add them at the same time that I added that embellishment, but I forgot. So you'll see I add the words at the end after we're all done painting. And I did go ahead and paint in those words with some spray paint and then again with the gray paints, but I unfortunately lost that footage, so I don't have that to share with you guys. But you get the idea of how to make this awesome little tombstone. I hope that you really like it and that it inspires you to make a tombstone and for your own yard this way. It did take a good amount of time, but this tombstone looks so amazing. I cannot wait to make some more for my yard next year.
Kinda simple, but like a pistol, you fire. Sometimes you get under my skin like a lover, and sometimes you don't wanna come back 'cause you'd rather stay out with another, talking to strangers and make out spontaneously. Now I'm so tired of hearing all your stories about the drunk nights, bragging in the glory. You're such a nice guy when you're not just talking about yourself and the way of how you dwell. I get it. Oh, I'm so tired of hearing all your stories about your rich friends traveling in Mercedes. You're such a nice guy when you're not just talking about yourself and the way of how you dwell. Don't you get it? You do it right. Hold me tight when I need it. And you always
Well, this is going to be the end of today's episode. I hope that you really enjoyed it and that not only did it give you some great ideas for DIYs, but also just for the decorating fun and to give you motivation in that way. Let me know what you think down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because in my next episode, we're changing all of this fall fun to some wicked delight. Now, see you next time, and I hope that you have an absolutely magical day.